Oliver the gnome stood before a tall, ancient wooden gate covered in twisting vines and bright green moss. The air shimmered with a mysterious glow, and tiny fireflies hovered near the cracks. His heart raced with anticipation, feeling the magical energy pulsing from the other side. He reached out with both hands and slowly pushed the gate open, revealing the hidden world beyond. As the gate creaked open, Oliver stepped into a hidden garden that seemed to come alive with magic. He was surrounded by flowers of every imaginable color: deep blues, vivid reds, bright yellows, and purples as dark as midnight. Tall, ancient trees with twisted branches reached up toward the sky, and their leaves shimmered with a silvery sheen. A sparkling stream snaked through the middle, and the air was filled with the sweet scents of blooming flowers and the distant sounds of birds singing. Wandering deeper into the garden, Oliver came across a magnificent rose bush unlike any he had ever seen before. The roses on this bush had petals made of shimmering silver, glowing softly in the sunlight. They seemed to hum with a magical energy, drawing Oliver closer. As he admired the roses, tiny, fluttering lights appeared around him, dancing like delicate sparks of magic. Oliver continued along a winding path that led through a dense patch of tall ferns and lush greenery. The air grew cooler as he ventured further, and mist began to rise from the ground, curling around the roots of trees and swirling into the air. The path was lined with glowing mushrooms that lit the way, their soft light casting long shadows that danced in the mist. The path led Oliver to a grand clearing where 3 magnificent fountains stood. Each fountain was unique. One was made of polished crystal, another was carved from ancient stone, and the last was covered in golden vines. Sparkling water poured from the fountains, splashing into large pools below. The water seemed to glow, filling the air with a gentle, melodic sound that echoed through the clearing. Oliver approached the first fountain, the one made of crystal. As he neared it, he noticed a strange shimmer in the air. Suddenly, the shimmer solidified into a guardian, a beautiful creature that looked like a mixture of a swan and a dragon, with crystal feathers and shimmering scales. It stood before the fountain, watching Oliver closely, its eyes sparkling like diamonds. The guardian allowed Oliver to pass, and he continued on to the second fountain, made of ancient stone. As he got closer, the ground began to tremble slightly, and from the pool emerged a large, moss-covered stone golem. The golem's eyes glowed a bright green, and vines wrapped around its limbs. It slowly rose from the water, towering over Oliver as if testing whether he was worthy to continue. After the golem stepped aside, Oliver approached the last fountain, the one covered in golden vines. As he reached it, the vines began to shift, and a glowing figure emerged. It was made entirely of light, with a form that resembled a large deer with antlers of golden branches. The light deer walked gracefully around the fountain, its golden glow illuminating the surrounding garden. After passing the 3 fountains, Oliver came to a bridge made of twisted roots and glowing blue stones. Below the bridge was a deep ravine where a river of sparkling water flowed. The water sparkled like liquid diamonds as it cascaded down small waterfalls, filling the air with a refreshing mist. The bridge led to a new part of the garden that seemed even more magical. Oliver crossed the bridge and found himself in an enchanted orchard filled with fruit trees that glowed softly. The trees bore unusual fruits, golden apples, silver pears, and sparkling berries that looked like they were made of stardust. The air was filled with a sweet fragrance, and soft light filtered through the leaves, creating a magical, peaceful atmosphere. Oliver wandered through the orchard and noticed a large tree at the center, different from the rest. Its trunk was made of silver, and its leaves shimmered like emeralds. The tree's branches reached far and wide, and hanging from its boughs was a glowing crystal orb. The orb pulsed with a bright light that seemed to call out to him. As Oliver reached for the crystal orb, he felt a surge of energy flow through him. The orb's light intensified, casting a radiant glow that filled the entire orchard. The ground beneath his feet began to rumble, and the light spread outwards, forming a pathway made of sparkling crystal stones that led deeper into the heart of the garden. Oliver followed the glowing path, which led him to a hidden glade surrounded by tall, mystical-looking plants that seemed to whisper in the breeze. In the center of the glade was a round stone pedestal, and resting atop it was a small, ancient-looking key that glowed with a soft blue light. The key seemed to be waiting for him. As soon as Oliver took the key, the plants around the glade shifted, revealing a hidden entrance to a tunnel beneath the ground. The entrance was framed with ancient stone and twisted roots, and the tunnel descended into darkness, with faint blue lights illuminating the way. Oliver gripped the key tightly and started down the path. The tunnel opened into a large underground cavern with crystal walls that sparkled like a starry sky. In the center of the cavern stood an enormous tree, its roots glowing with a brilliant golden light that spread throughout the cavern like a web. At the base of the tree was an ancient door, covered in carvings and symbols that pulsed faintly with magic. Oliver placed the glowing key into the lock on the ancient door, and the symbols on the door began to glow brightly. The door slowly opened, revealing a hidden chamber filled with treasure. Gold coins, sparkling gems, and ancient artifacts were piled high. In the middle of it all was a pedestal with a beautiful flower made of pure light growing from it, radiating a powerful magical aura. As Oliver approached the glowing flower, the treasure around him began to transform. The gold coins turned into blooming flowers, the gems became glowing insects that fluttered around, and the ancient artifacts shifted into shimmering butterflies. The entire chamber transformed into a vibrant, magical garden, alive with light and color. The glowing flower in the center began to grow, expanding into a radiant tree that towered above Oliver. Its branches were made of pure light, and golden leaves shimmered and fell like glowing raindrops. The magic from the tree spread throughout the entire cavern, filling the air with warmth and light. The light from the tree filled the cavern, and suddenly, Oliver found himself back at the entrance to the secret garden, standing in front of the ancient wooden gate. The gate slowly closed behind him, leaving the magical world hidden once more. The mysterious glow faded, and the air around him returned to normal. But Oliver still felt the magic within him, as if a piece of the secret garden had become a part of him forever. As Oliver walked away from the hidden gate, he felt a sense of peace and wonder, knowing that the magic of the secret garden was now part of his world. He glanced back one last time, and for a brief moment, he saw a flicker of light coming from the gate as if the garden was saying goodbye. He then continued on his journey, ready for the next adventure.